Hello, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Zoom In on the Halal Metropolis, where we're checking in on different members of the Muslim community and see how they're adjusting and adapting to the new reality living under the coronavirus. Here with me today, we have Zaineb Hussein. She's the Deputy Chief of Staff for the State of Michigan Department of the State. She's also appointed by Governor Whitmer on the Health Endowment Board for the State of Michigan. Welcome, Zaineb. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Under the circumstances, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. Yeah, thank you for asking. I know that you were just appointed to a brand new role with the Department of the State. Can you tell us what the role is so far, or what the role is? And I know that you just started, but you've already very quickly had to make a bunch of adjustments. So can you tell us about that experience as well as what you're supposed to be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the Deputy Chief of Staff for the Department of State. For those who are not familiar with the Department of State, I work directly with the Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, who is an elected official. She's elected by the state of Michigan. We oversee elections, also our branch offices, which the DMVs, which would do licensings and permits and everything else you can possibly think of when you walk in there. So that's kind of where I live for now. I am very fairly new to the position. It's been a little over 2 months. I started in February, um, and my role there has kind of evolved. While learning how we've adapted as a department to COVID-19, things have changed, right? How the way we interact with, our residents, the services that we provide, and even as the executive office, how we interact with each other, and how we've taken on roles that may not be, something that just changed based on the stay at home and virtually, like getting used to being on camera, which I absolutely hate. But here we are.
Yeah, I think a
But
lot of us do. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it gets old. You think it, but it's been great. So a lot of the work that I do with the department is a few things. I support on a lot of the projects that we do, a lot of initiatives, and that's just helping create awareness around. For example, one of the big things actually I'd love to talk about with you is redistricting.
Mhm.
The redistricting commission is housed under it's run actually right now under the Department of State. Sally Marsh, who's our special projects director, oversees that program, and it's such an important, um, you know, it's a very important program that will redraw the lines for what our districts will look like, and how you can be a part of that. So I'd love to touch a little bit about that. I think that's a great opportunity for the community at large to be a part of that historical moment in time for the state of Michigan. But it's basically supporting projects, ensuring strong communications and networks with our partner organizations so that do a lot of the work in the civil, the voting protections, civil rights, and it's maintaining those lines of communication, ensuring that they have what they need in order to do what they have to do, but also trying to find a cohesive vision that we can collaborate on to ensure that we really are serving our residents the best that we can. COVID-19 has kind of put a very unique spin on a lot of the things that I'm able to do. All of our calls are now virtual, which
Yeah.
has been really interesting. You see a lot of different angles of people, which is been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
um, but
So,
it's been trying. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh yeah, I was going to say, so I think redistricting is a great topic for us to maybe come back to. And so, because, it is an election year, it's a
Hmm.
census year. So why don't you, yeah, well, let's talk about the importance of what's happening with that. And how, and yeah, why don't you just dive into it?
So I say that so you've noted on one of the biggest things in elections and how we've been able to administer elections during COVID-19, and
Yeah.
that's going to change. And preparing the public, of how that's going to change has been one of our goals internally, and really working with our partner organizations to ensure that they are doing the same. We had an election, not all of the state, but a part of the state had an election on May 5th. And it was a mail by election. The Department of State actually sent
Mhm.
out absentee applications to the voters so that they could fill it out. So encouraging the shift being encouraging people to register as on the permanent AV list. That we have now a law in place that is no excuse absentee.
Mhm.
Encouraging them to be on the permanent absentee list, encouraging them to fill out the absentee application, because we have an election in August, which a lot of important races that are on the ballot, and not knowing where we're going to be in November, preparing ourselves for the November election possibly being by mail as well, depending on where we are. But it's been a real shifting gears also with the registration commission is we actually the applications you fill out have to be notarized, and because
Mm.
a lot of those notaries are not able to do it in person,
Yeah.
our team actually our team put together a plan to provide electronic notaries. And so
Mm.
now when you fill out your application to be a part of the commission, you're able to get it notarized through one of the notaries that can do it through electronic signature, which is really important. And the redistricting commission is such an important part of Michigan's history. As you know, that the voters voted to provide a citizens redistricting commission, and what's happening right now is we're taking applications and from all around the state, so that we are trying to be as representative of the communities across the state, and having them be a part of this process. Now, not everyone's going to be chosen, but the application process will happen after, I believe the deadline is in June. I think it's
Okay.
June 1st is when the deadline is. But you can visit our website, the Redistricting Commission, on the SOS website for more information on that.
Hmm. Wonderful. And then, another major thing that's being affected is obviously the census. It's a big year. And so, what are your thoughts on that, and how, the importance of the census this year in particular, looking at, different minority communities and in terms of representation and resources that are being allocated to those communities. What are your thoughts? What are you talking about with your colleagues? And what are some of the concerns that you have with this year's census, particularly in light of what's happening now with the virus?
Yeah. So with the census, I think unfortunately, what we do recognize is the fact that the people who are undercounted are the ones that need it the most, and it's historically immigrant communities or communities of color that do not participate in the census, and unfortunately, those funds are not being allocated to those communities, and resources are not being allocated because they're not being counted. So, and I think this time around, what I've seen is there is a shift in messaging, and the governor's office and the Wayne County Executive's office. I was there for a while, and I actually led the census effort for the county before I left to work for the Secretary of State's office. And there we focused really on those particular communities, senior communities, senior citizens, because they
Mm.
are part of the groups that are hard to reach. Immigrant communities. There is this fear of government that surrounds immigrant communities, and how to really take down those barriers, and using trusted connectors to do that. I'm really proud, at least with the Metro Detroit area, Access is doing some phenomenal work. The city of Dearborn is doing some phenomenal work around, the census, and ensuring to educate people on why it's important to fill it out. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, until I started working on the census, it was just like, wait, what? What is that again? Wait, we
Yeah.
have to fill it out. So
Yeah.
I think it's one, understanding and really recognizing the importance of it, and then two, understanding the that it is a reflection of who we are. It represents, us as an individual, that we count. So often we feel that we are being, marginalized, or, that we're not being counted, essentially, right? But this is a
Hmm.
good way for us to say, yes, we are here. To a little quick point on that is, for people who have their ethnicities are not listed on the census, I would
Hmm.
highly recommend that they include it on it as their, because the census will actually categorize that once the results come back. So I think that's really interesting.
Hmm. And I know it's like every day something changes, and there's a new reality every day or every week, and things are changing so fast. But if we can look ahead a little bit to November, when we're going to have nationwide elections, what are you guys talking about in terms of what that election is going to look like this year?
Yeah, I also am very proud of the our Bureau of Elections and the way that they've been able to pivot so quickly under the circumstances. And I think that really is a testament of the leadership of the Secretary of State. And I say that because, they were prepared to, ensure that our clerks were prepared for these elections, and making sure that they had the proper safety attire. They had gloves, they had face
Hmm.
masks, they had hand sanitizer, ensuring that piece of it, right, which is
Hmm.
extremely important. But also encouraging people to stay at home by sending out absentee applications. Today we had a conversation with stakeholders talking about how we can craft a unified message across, many organizations, to encourage people to fill out their absentee application, and to really stay at home and keep themselves safe, and be able to vote from home. I think the one of the things that I find so interesting, and really it is it just shows the value of, our democracy, is that, with so many pandemics, and we've had many in this country, that the one thing that was always constant was elections were held. And,
Hmm.
that is something that it took me aback, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, wow, that's just, something to think and to, mull over it, the fact that elections are so important because it is our voice. And in this situation, it's the same thing. The elections will happen. We need to ensure that our democracy continues, and that, all our residents have an opportunity to voice their opinions and their voices. And, being prepared for that, but also taking into consideration that this is not your normal it's not the normalcy of what previous elections looked like. We actually we're in a pandemic, and safety is extremely important to us as well. So I'm really, really, really proud of how our Bureau of Elections have been able to really, pivot real quick, and really work ahead in preparing our clerks, and, with that. And it continues. It doesn't stop just because, we have August elections, we have November elections, and we'll continue to work with what comes at us. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's been fun just to see that all happen in the background, because usually I'm on the other side. So actually
Yeah.
seeing it done on this side has just been it's been inspirational.
Well, I think it's causing a lot of government departments and agencies to be innovative, because the services need to be provided. And
Hmm.
I mean, I think it's a great point that, despite the fact that we're talking about the Olympics being canceled and major sporting events being canceled, entire seasons, so many things that, major cultural institutions and political, important things in our society are being canceled. But elections must go on in order for democracy to go on. So it's really important. And we're really looking to people like yourself for leadership around these things during this time. So we really appreciate, all the work that you do and your department does. Zaineb, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. And you're doing some amazing work, and we're really looking forward to this year's elections. And thank you so much for everything that you do.
I appreciate it, and thank you for everything that you do. I think that the work that you do in highlighting the amazing people that we have in our community here, and is so important. It tells the story that has been untold for so long. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much for the work that you do.
You're welcome. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe.
You.
Take care. Assalamu
Ramadan
alaikum.
Kareem. Salam
Ramadan
alaikum.
Mubarak. Wa alaikum assalam.
Bye-bye.